Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Season 3, Episode 12 of Kung Fu. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So first and foremost, we're picking up in the aftermath of last episode, and it turns out that Zhao's mark that she left on Mia is draining her of what she is. This is what Zhao's plan is. She did say that she was going to fix the bloodline, and how she was going to fix it, it's like, cool. I think she gave this power to this bloodline that she believes she gave birth to, but it's like, it's gotten so diluted. The power isn't where it needs to be. It needs to be with me. I don't know whether she plans on kind of like, God, my thought was like, okay, I'm going to take the bloodline and I'm going to make it into what it was supposed to be in my image, you know? So she was never around to shape the bloodline into what she wanted. Once again, we might be in some invincible type of stuff of like only the strongest of the strong survive, and what survives is the most elite. You know, we might be in some like Viltrumite territory in that regard. So I'm curious, is she planning on like where she ends up at the end of the episode? I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but her plan with David's, and Matthew's, like, I wasn't expecting that, just straight up murdering David. But it's like, yeah, she needs Matthew because it's his algorithm of knowing people. So is she going to almost use that in almost conjunction with the compass powers that, because I think she only used it from, she couldn't take it from Henry, because I guess maybe the only powers she can fully take are those related to the bloodlines, because it stems from her. So maybe that's the only thing she can tap into, because I thought, because she didn't take any of Henry's compass powers, she basically hijacked it for a little bit to do what she needed to, and then she bounced. So I thought she straight up took all of his compass powers, but it seems like it's still there. So, but now I'm wondering, like, why would she need David's algorithm of basically knowing people, being able to predict people? How would that serve her in the long run? So it's like, not unless she's going to use that to basically get to know people so well that she's able to integrate them and find the people she needs to spread the power through. But it's like, would she, once again, give birth to a new, stronger bloodline, well, with her reigning at the top of it like a god. Kind of in a Russell Tan thing, but Russell kind of wanted it all to himself, which she does too, but it's more so like, right, I'm going to birth a new era of warriors, but they're all going to serve me rather than doing their own thing. It's like, they're going to be obedient to me. They're going to be bound to me. That's the kind of feel I get, but I'm not quite sure if that's the direction this is necessarily going to end up going, you know? But at the end of the day, circling back, Mia's life, she can feel it all kind of slipping away. It isn't just her power that's being taken away, it's her life. And I was like, there's no way we're actually going to do this, right? It's like, there's no way. And, you know, and Mia kind of accepts it because she found peace. She found a new family. She found everything, like here at the monastery, she found peace after like the complicated things she's been dealing with all this time. She, you know, thanks Jilon because it's like, right. Because Jilon tried to apologize. It's like, right, I went to you. Yes, you might have not been the best role model, but still thank you. And Jilon was just like, we should go, you know, spread out, because Jilon didn't want to be face to face with her, because it's like, here you are thanking me. And it's like, you shouldn't be, you know. I think it's kind of like, Jilon's got a lot of regrets about how she's handled things in the past, and now Mia's just one of them, and now it's like, you know, I was happy knowing that, hey, you were out here, you're okay, and now your life is slipping away. And she's obviously thanking Nikki and saying, like, this is how she wants things to be later on, saying that this is her chance to, you know, see her mom again, which you can only assume, because her mom's from one of the bloodlines. Oh yeah, I'm so stupid. I was like, well, her mom's from one of the bloodlines. It's like, yeah, I know which bloodline. The warrior bloodline's stupid. It's like, yeah, but like the sad thing is, we know that all the warrior and guardian spirits that should have been in that place, like Jilon and Pei Ling's mom, as well as Mei Li's sister, Mia's mom, like, were most likely gone. You know, it had to mean her dad was affected too, because her dad's of the guardian bloodline. They didn't touch on that, but like, he had to be affected with everything later on too, when you think about it. But yeah, Mia ends up dying. I was like, there's no way. It was like, especially after everything, just to kind of bring Mia back, just to kill her. But then it's like, right, it wasn't just her power being drained away. It was her soul. It was like, right, so there's a chance to save her. Well, that's the thing. Is Mia gone, or is it, if they can free her soul again, could it be that Mia can return to her body? That's where I don't know. Either, like, I hope it's the form, like, I hope it's like, hey, her soul can return to her body, because if it's not, like, this, and this is permadeath, I'm like, that sucks. It shouldn't be that way, especially for Mei Li. It's like, the last tie that she has to her sister is gone now. It's like, that, I mean, first and foremost, like, Mia's family, that's your niece, so, but still, it's like, knowing that some part of your sister is still out there and knowing that she lived on through Mia was kind of nice. And now that's going. So it's up to the team to try and fix this. But they end up finding out that Henry was taken by Zhao. Which, I was like, well, we know she could take on Pei Ling's face because, hey, I'm able to, because she's in Pei Ling's body, so she's able to kind of wear her face. You know, once again, she's on her like Farouk, the Shadow King thing. But aside from that, the fact is, later on, she tried to mess with Henry by looking like Nikki. Like, the moment she came in, she's like, oh, you're going to have to use your compass powers to help. I was like, first and foremost, whereas you would think Jilin and Henry would be there, like, to back you. I mean, I said Jilin, Henry. Jilin would be there to back you up, so why are you there alone? But also, she's like, go ahead, use your compass powers. Like, it's Zhao messing with you. Don't give in, Henry. And the moment they kiss, he was like, you're not Nikki. And it's like, yes, saw through it. But her torture, subconsciously, he used his powers to kind of like reach out to Nikki because of their connection. And he didn't mean to do it on purpose. And because of that, that was the crack in the armor that Zhao needed. And she used him as a focal point to spread the spell that's going to suck away the power from the bloodlines. Everyone gets it. It's not just like the warriors and fighters like Jilin and Nikki. Mei Li gets it, Ryan gets it, Althea gets it. Everyone that's descended from this bloodline, even distantly, is being affected in this moment. And it's like, now it's like a race against time, because for Nikki, it's not just her, it's like my entire family. A lot of my family could end up dying. I mean, and that's the sad thing, and that's the rough part that, a lot of people find themselves in this, case, like, Evan, Nadia, Jin, Sebastian, and Dennis. Like, it's like we're stuck on the sidelines. We can't do, like, what can we actually do? I mean, when Dennis sees Althea, he's like, Bam Bam, like, are you, Pebbles, sorry. And it's like, are you okay? Like, let me get you anything. Maybe you should lie down. And Jin had to calm him down. It's like, fear is contagious. Like, if you can keep up a strong face, don't be like, it's okay to be scared, but don't let it show, because the more scared you are, the more scared she is. And it's like, it's heartbreaking, because it's like, what do we do in this situation? You know, and I even love that Henry's there for Jilin, because it's like, you know, it's like, she's like, I didn't want to, you know, go off and die in front of the Shin family, because she felt like she didn't deserve that. But it's like, you're not going to die. And he's like, for her, it's like, I've caused a lot of death and destruction myself. And the fact is that for her, she thought she made a great sacrifice last episode, and last season, and that would be the end of it. But now it's like, the only reason why she's alive right now is Pei Ling, because she has to make things right. She has to save her sister, you know, and that's the only reason why she's living. And she's like, well, if your face, Henry's going to be the last face I see, you might as well take me out right now. I love that. But, I thought what was going to happen, I thought Bo was going to come into the story a little sooner than he did. When it was the situation of Ryan, it's like, okay, I got some Zhu Zhao and, not Zhu Zhao, it's Jusan. I had some Jusan, and all I need is like some of the being an energy from like a flower, because they ended up finding one. I thought it's like, okay, let's get Bo. He can travel here, grab the flower, and then like bounce back, and Ryan can do his thing. But it was already too late. But then he comes up later in the story because it's like, right, we need to find some cure for this. And they turn to Bo, and he doesn't really know what could help. But then he remembers that shadow world he was in, the one that Zhao would take him to. It's like, right. He's like, I got bit by one of those creatures and I was dying, and she taught me about a fruit. It's an anti-magic fruit. Now, the thing is, you don't want it to touch your skin, because she's like, if the insides of it or whatever like ends up touching your skin, it will make it so that it's anti-magic. It will take away your traveling ability and you'll be stuck here forever. Which obviously, like, that was already a terrifying enough experience. And that's the thing about Bo, like, Zhao was there. Like, he didn't see her manipulating him. He saw, like, this is my Shifu. She wants what's best for me. She trained me. She took care of me. She was like a mother to him. And so he was willing to do whatever because he was swept up in her lies. So you kind of feel bad for him. Still doesn't, take away the fact that he's done what he's done, but he wants to make things right. He wants to help out Nikki. So he takes her to that world, and they go trying to get to that tree, but there's a guardian in front of it who says that basically because of the way things have been happening, basically magic growing in their world has had a negative impact on this world. So I'm assuming this all starts with Zhao back in the day. I'm sure Zhao's the one that kind of broke this world. And I'm sure everything over the course of this series has not helped. I'm sure everything with Russell Tan and the Source situation, I'm sure the whole situation with being did not help either. But Zhao kind of made magic more prominent in this world when she created the bloodlines. So I think probably ever since then, it's had a negative impact on that other world. I mean, that might have been the jumping start for her. Like, maybe that other world, it ended up being the world that Bo went to, but I'm sure like she dragged him to that one specifically. But maybe she's always known the existence of that world, because it does seem like it is a almost mirrored world to like obviously we've only seen like that section of it, but like it seems like it might be like a parallel world, kind of almost like a mirror, like whereas like the world that Nikki and them are from is kind of like the realm of light. That might be full blown like the mirrored realm of darkness, and so this guy is saying that as magic's grown in that world, it's had such a negative impact on this world, and it created, this anti-magic. That's why this tree is so important. It's the only thing holding back the darkness. And the moment that's introduced, I was like, that feels like that's set up for the next season. That feels like, oh, that's going to be the major overarching issue next season, potentially. So for him, it's like, right, even one fruit being taken from that tree, because he's like, I let you go all those years ago. I saw you as a little kid because you were like a weak, dying kid. But this situation is different. I'm not going to make that mistake again, letting you come back here. Even if it's just one fruit, I can't. It's going to throw off the balance. There's too much at stake for me to care about your problems. Because truth be told, is your world is the reason why there's issues here in the first place. So Bo ends up fighting him so that Nikki could get the fruit. And in the fight, Bo ends up killing the guy. But he's like, you don't know what you've done. Now, like, it's going to come down to you. Like, the fact is, no matter what world you go to, these creatures will follow you, because there has to be a balance. Like, there has to be a guardian to kind of watch over this tree. And so Bo, trying to make things right. It's like, after all I've done, this is my way of making it right. And if I go back with you, Nikki, like, this is going to be following me as well. So he ends up traveling Nikki back to their world, and he left his totem with her. So he like, that way he won't be tempted. I think for him, it's like, that way I'm not tempted to try and travel back to that world just in case I get scared or anything. So he fights back for a while, but eventually the creatures overtake him. I'm assuming he's eventually going to look like the guy he killed. I think that's probably like them infecting you of like, all right, now you're going to be the guardian of this place. So I don't think Bo's dead, but I don't think there's any like saving him. Like, he has to stay here. I mean, maybe there's going to be some correlation with what Zhao is up to, that maybe that'll correlate where she ends up back in that world or something. Or maybe Nikki's going to try. I mean, because the only other traveler is Zhao. Not unless they're able to say Pei Ling, and Pei Ling keeps some of Zhao's traveling ability. But other than that, like, well, I mean, we don't know if there are any other travelers. They're like, Bo and Zhao are the only ones we're aware of. I mean, travelers are probably like that super rare, but there might be another one out there in the world we're just not aware of yet. But luckily, Nikki got the fruit. Everyone else is kind of, worn down. There was even that heartbreaking scene with Mei Li where she was talking to Jin and was like, hey, like, if I don't make it, I need to know that you're going to be okay. But he's like, no, you're going to be okay. Because it's like, right, we've been together for so long. I can't even imagine life without you. And he's like, I'm not about to start. Like, everything's going to happen. Everything's going to be okay. Dennis looking after Althea is like, oh, do you need anything? She's like, flip through Insta for me. She's like, double tap. And I was like, that's super adorable. Also, along with some of the sad news, there's good news because I'm sure they hadn't announced it to anyone because, like, with everything going on, it's not the best time to bring it up. Good news amongst all this bad news. But the fact is that turns out that Nadia's pregnant because she was like, yeah, I'm thinking about the future. He's like, and Evan's like, well, what's up? What's wrong? She's like, I'm pregnant. He's like, oh, whoa. I was like, hey, congratulations. That's awesome. So I think that's why Nadia kind of like, it's like, I feel like I can't do enough for you guys with everything. The Shins have been so awesome and welcoming, and they've done a lot to change my life for the good, especially because this is kind of like a second family for you, Evan, because you've known them for so long. But for her, it's like, I think it's just like with all this good news happening now, and, how much this family fights to protect this city, how much they fight for each other. I think, it started making her think about the family element of it all, considering she has a child on her way herself. So that was kind of a nice element. But Sebastian ended up preparing the fruit, and it came down to now to Henry. And there was a part of me thinking like, oh, won't drinking it? But I was like, no, that's the point. Drinking it won't affect his circumstances. Because I was about to say, won't it affect your traveler? I mean, your compass ability? Because like, no, it won't. So, because that was the whole point of like Bo drinking it, was so like he could get cured within minutes and not lose his traveling abilities. But Henry can't do it at first until Nikki was like, just start with me and then branch out. And he thought about Nikki, focused on her, and then he spread to the rest of the family and then spread out. And luckily, it seems he was able to save everyone. But the problem is, luckily everyone's alive, but the problem is everyone from the Warrior and Guardian bloodlines have been completely tapped. Every bit of like magic that made them what they were in their blood is completely gone. Zhao's got it all. She got what she wanted in the end. Yeah, it would have helped to kill them as well, but if they can probably defeat her, maybe they can get it all back. But that sudden rush of magic back in the world, like that much concentrated magic, like even if you spread that back out, that sudden burst might be the thing that ends up having a negative inverse effect on that other world that Bo's in now. And that might be the tipping scale that ends up releasing all that darkness that's sealed away. I mean, taking that fruit might have also tipped that scale in conjunction with all of this. So once again, how Zhao plans to use the whole algorithm that she's going to be taking from Matthew, we'll ultimately have to wait and see. Plus, with all that power she has, none of the warriors or guardians have any of their own. She has all the power now. The only person that has any power is Henry, and I don't know if the compass abilities can be used in that regard. They still have their martial arts, but they don't have the supernatural oomph behind it anymore. So how they deal with all of that is definitely going to be interesting to see. Next episode is in fact the season finale, and it's going to be so interesting to see how this all wraps up. Like, how will it end? Because it's not going to be a clean cut end, but how do you go about stopping Zhao? And once again, the whole Mia of it all. We know that once the other spirits are released, they'll be able to go. Well, that's also they should be able to pass on. That's the thing, like that source world isn't around anymore. It collapsed, and it's like they all got banished out. But now that once they're free, maybe they're able to finally completely move on. Also, what does that mean for Pei Ling? Maybe she gets to live a normal life. I love her and Jilong to be able to have that. Like I said, will Mia be able to come back, or is it just a permadeath thing? I don't know. She was ready for it, but it's like, no, you're still so young. You still have your whole life ahead of you, so it shouldn't be cut short like that. So we'll have to wait to see how this all plays out in the season finale. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.